So in the last session we just talked about all the appliances we will be using for most of the paintings. But now we will move on to some of the easy techniques which is used, and when mastered you can actually enjoy watercolor. So in this video we will be talking about two different kind of techniques. One is wet on wet, that is when the paper is wet as well as you put the color and water on the paper. So that is one kind of section. This technique is basically used in making the backgrounds or merging two colors, because there should not be any sharp lines between the two colors. So in that we are using wet on wet technique. And wet on dry technique is where the paper is dry and you put the water and color mixture on the paper. So basically that is used in detailing, like when you want to draw the eyes or some trees, the leaves of the trees, or the detailing part of flowers. So in those kind of things wet on dry technique is used. But I use also the same technique in mixing two colors where I want a specific area to be colored in two different shades. So in that also I use it. I will show you in my video.
First of all, we will start with a technique called wet on wet technique. It means to wet the paper first and then putting the color on the paper. The beauty of this technique is it gives you a naturally blurry effect or faded effect. So it is mostly used in mixing two colors or background. First of all, we will just wet the whole paper and then put the color like this on the paper, and it will start blurring itself. You can see that. So we can take, as we want first box to be like totally light, one single light wash. That's why we will be like spreading it out evenly throughout the paper. So as you see, it is a very light shade. So I'll put a bit more color so that it looks a bit darker or not white. So like this we will be putting the color on the paper. And like when you are making a horizontal stroke, you should start doing it, and if it is vertical, then vertical stroke should be there. Then we will be going to the next box. Here we will be doing gradient wash, that is with one color gradient wash. So first of all we will wet the paper as we did in the earlier box, and just spread the water evenly on the paper. That is important. And then on the paper we will be putting the color like this, and we will just move our hand a bit lighter towards the downside. Because there is a lot of water on the paper, we don't need to go back and take water. Most of the time it is done like this, that you just lighten your hand over the paper and it just goes lighter like this. Yeah. And then we will be moving towards the dual color gradient. So in the third box we will just again wet the paper like the others, and you should have another thing, that you should always have the water evenly spread out throughout the paper. So first of all we will put the yellow color on one side of the paper like this, and then we have to take the red and put on the other side of the paper. So as it is already wet, it will start blurring into each other. I have not done much, but still it is blurring nicely, but I want it to be more smoother, so I'll go back on the area where it is getting merged together. So this, you can see that it is getting just the right way. So I'll put a bit of yellow so that it doesn't look a whitish effect which was there. So now we have the total good effect actually. Yes. So make the strokes similar throughout the box. Then you will get a nice gradient effect. Then we will move on to wet on dry technique, where I'll be using first is the solid section. Like when you can see that when I'm putting the color on a dry section, it is totally darker. The section above the box, which is totally dry, is totally a dark section. The colors will be darker than the wet on wet technique. So yeah, the color is really dark. Now the gradient one. So we will be doing gradient by using wet on dry technique. So first of all, you will put the color exactly where you want and then take the water and spread it throughout the paper. So as you do that, it just spreads again like the part, like the other section, like wet on wet. But the help is that sometimes you need this gradient on a very particular area where you cannot just put the water and then you just do. That's why wet on dry technique is good for that. So now moving on to the third section, we'll be putting two colors on the two end, and then we will just take some water and mix the center of it. So you can see that we will take a bit of yellow also, so that it just merges off. So it is almost wet on wet, but the basic difference I will say that is you can choose a specific area, but because in wet on wet sometimes control is not there that much. So wet on dry is for those areas.
See you all in my next video of watercolor session with Tanima. Bye.